Okay, 7th of July, 2022. Et ecce, and look, in ipso momentum ablative, in that very moment itself, the janitor, the doorman, or the porter, introrumpit. He burst in, exerte. That's probably a past passive, or it's probably acting adverbally. Shouting out, it's a present participle with a lot of exertion, basically, stretched out. Ubi est tu, where are you? Relative pronoun. Who, alter nocte, these are ablatives. So basically, deep in the night, festinabas, imperfect. You're in a haste in the middle of the night, and now stertus. Now you are snoring. In volitus, past passive. You're wrapped up in your blankets, probably. Ad hac, neuter plurals. And to these things, I don't know whether, by our case, by our fall, kasu, or, here we have again, so I don't know if it was whether I fall or absano clamore. These are ablative. By these absinus, it's a discordant shouting, Apuleius, of him. This would be the doorman. Exporectus, Socratis. It's past passive, so he woke up, he exporected, and he exurged, and he rose up. Pria, before, and inquit, he said, non in merito, it's not undeserved, stabularios hos, these go together, these ends, omnes hospates, that all these guests detestantor. All these guests, it's not unmerited that all these guests detest these kind of ends. Nam isti, that's the demonstrative pronoun. For this inquisitive fellow, while at an importune time, that's the best way of interpreting that, he burst in, he erumpited. I believe with a desire, he's a gerund, of seizing something. Yeah. So I believe he burst in wanting to steal something, with a vast shouting, vast is probably loud, marketum alioquin, me, so with me otherwise exhausted or weak, he shook me out of an altissimo, that's a superlative somno, out of a very deep sleep. Emergo latus en alaca. These are descriptive, that's an adjective, this is a past passive. So I emerged happy and energetic, or brisk. Inspirato gaudio, perfuse. So it was full of an unhoped for happiness or rejoicing. And ecce genitor, look here, janitor, fidelissime, that's evocative, that's why there's an E there, going with that male thing. So most loyal janitor, Combs, it's his companion, and my father. So my companion and my father and my brother, it's all describing Socrates, quem, who, nocte, in the night, ebrius. This would go with the this nominative of the janitor. So the janitor was drunk, and he's being vocative. So you who were drunk in the night, ocesum a me, he was killed by me, calumnia baris. You made this slur against me that I'd killed him. Et cum dicto Socraten diosculabar emplexus. And with this said, I embraced Socrates, diosculabaring him, kissing him. At illi, but he, odore, by the odour, Alioquin will say generally again, generally percussus. So he was struck by this odour, most sperkissime, so there's most foul odour, humoris, of moisture, by which me, that's ablative, those lamia had stained me with, infecarat, and vehemently, that's our adverb, he vehemently aspernator. So he was struck by this, in general, by this horrible smell which was done on me by these witches, and he spurned me vehemently. Apag, imperative you. Get away, you, he said. Fetorum, accusative. Extreme latrine, these is double genitive. So with this stink of an extreme toilet, get away from me, you stink of an extreme latrine. And causes coepit, and he began There'll be a verb here somewhere. Inquire. He began to inquire the cause, demonstrative pronoun and this noun, they're double genitive. So he began to inquire the cause of this odour, commoner, that's the adverb, friendly, in a friendly way. But I, wretch, I the wretch, these are both nominative, at ego miser ad ficto, having created extemporally on the spot. These ablatives are picking up from this, they're separate. So I created some absurd joke on the spot. In alium sermonum, we've got accusative, intentionem. This is probably with the intention of another sermon, another topic. The intention of leading his words into another, and de nuo, that's the adverb arm, so it could be refreshed. So he made this absurd joke, lead him on to some other topic, derivo, that's deviated or steering away, and we've got ablative injecta dextra. So I inserted my right hand, or I grabbed him by the right hand. Quin imus, inquem, I said. Why don't we go, I said, and itineris matuini, that's rather early, gratia, it's probably for the sake of, or for the pleasure. Why don't we take the pleasure of hastening our journey, take an early morning? Why don't we leave early in the morning? Sumos, he's picked up, he's accusative, the sarculum, that's the little sack, picked up his bag, and pretio, and the price of this is a mansion basically is the inn. Per soluto in ablative. So with the price paid for the inn of staying in the inn, we took to the road. Alio quantum processimus. We proceeded a little way, and now Eubaris exortu. So the rising, that's a poetic word for the sun. And so now, with the arrival of the sun, cuncta, everything, con lustranta, was shining. And if you want to look up this Mancio word, it's in the top 2,000 words, apparently. There you go. Et ego, and I, curios, with curiosity, sedulo arbitraba. I was thinking over sedulously, jugulum comitis, the throat of my companion, which parte gladium dilapsum, in which part viderem I'd seen the sword sunk into, and mecum, and with myself, visane I was saying. You're crazy, I said. Who? Looks ablative plural. Poculus in vino, that's definitely ablative. Sepultus, past passive. I was buried in cups and wine. Somniaste. And you had a dream, and here's the adjective, an extreme dream. Okay, look, Socrates, integer, he's whole. Sanus, he's sound. Incolumus, he's safe. Ubi vulnus, where the wound? You probably need an S there. Where is the wound? Spongia, where? Where's the sponge? Ubi, where? Postremo, finally. Cicatrix, that's the scar. Tam alta, so deep. Tam recens, so fresh. Et ad illum, and to him, non inquam in merito medici fide. So I said it's not unmerited, basically, that, I'd say this is plural, good doctors or loyal doctors with food and crapula, can mean drunken or hangover, distendus. So the people who are distended, they're swollen up with food and drunkenness, sava and gravia somniare, that they have savage or angry and heavy or serious sleeping, autumnant, they believe. So these good doctors believe, not unmeritedly, that you get distended with food and alcohol and you have savage and heavy sleep, dreams. Mihi, to me, dative, deniqui, that's the adverb. And so finally, for me, quod, because poculus, with cups, vesperi is an adverb at twilight, basically. Minus temperavi, that's a perfect so. I was less tempered myself with cups at evening. Nox, that's nominative. I've got an adjective. There was a bitter night, and now I've gone into accusative plurals. Dire and truculent or violent images obtulit. So this bitter night brought dire and truculent images, so that ad hoc still I believe myself, cruel humani, aspersum are. So here I am, the me's in the accusative. I was sprayed with human blood and gore, basically, and impietum. Basically, that's stained as well. Ad hac. To these things, illy, he, the nominative, present participle, he was smiling, or maybe a little laugh. At two, but you, he said, not sangue, not with blood, said lotio, but with urine, perfusus s. You were soaked in, not with blood, but with urine. Verum tamum. So, but yet, at also, ipsi, myself, since he's talking about himself, per somnium, through a dream, jugulare visus sum to me. It seemed to me, through this dream, that I was jugulare, my throat was cut. For also, jugulum istum, dolvi, I have pain in this throat. And cor ipsum, that would have to be a neuter accusative with ipsum, and my heart itself to me, avele putavi. I was thinking that my heart itself was being plucked out, et nunc etiam, and now even in spiritu, that's a fourth, deficior, comparative. I'm more deficient in my breathing. It's hard to breathe. And genua quatior, I think that's a deponent. And I'm shaking in my knee, basically. And gradu, my step, I'm tituberating, I'm tilting, in my step, I'm shaking a bit, and I'm having trouble walking. And aliquid cibatus, and something food-like. We've got a gerund, this is for refreshing. I need some food to refresh, basically. Desidero, and I'm longing for breath. En inquam. Look, I said, paratum tibi, prepared for you. Yentaculum, since it's early in the morning, this is breakfast is at hand, prepared for you. And cum dicta, and with this said, manticum, the knapsack meam, and my knapsack exuo humo, from my shoulder blades. I took my travelling bag off my shoulder. Quesum cum pane, cheese cum pane, with bread, or along with bread. Hastily prepare ei to him, porrigo, I stretched out to him. Et juxta platanum istam recidimus eo. Eo is saying. So next to this plane tree, recidimus, we'll sit down. These go together, they're appositions. Let's sit down next to this plane tree, I said.